Hello, everybody. Tammy here again, and this session is going to be dedicated to learning more about Google Slides, which is your presentation application within Google Apps. This is similar to what you would have used PowerPoint with Microsoft before. So this is your presentation. So I'm going to be working in the Tech Tuesday folder because I want, hopefully you created a folder called Tech Tuesday that you're able to put all of your great lessons that you're learning within that folder so you are able to reference it at another time. So again, we're in Google Drive. We are in the folder that we want to create this slide presentation in, and we are going to go to New again, and we're going to go down to Slides. Now we also have different formats here, just like we had with Docs, with either a blank presentation format or we can choose from different templates. It's not too late. If you get into it and you want to do a different template, it's not too late to look at that. But you've got a whole bunch of templates to choose from within the general template gallery that they provide. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to go with our typical Google slide, which is just a blank presentation. And so it's going to, once again, when it comes up, you have an untitled presentation. So that's the first thing you may want to look at. And I'm going to title that just so you have something to recognize in your Google Drive. Now, at this point, we start out with our first slide. You may want to start selecting some themes in your format, what you want to look at. They already have this pop-up of themes coming up over here on the right to choose from, just some of these that are already pre-made that you may want to select. And then it will create your presentation based on that theme. This is the tropic theme. And if you add a new slide, which I would go up to slide and hit a new slide, it's going to carry on that theme. It's got that little blue bar at the bottom. And notice that it's a little bit different from the first slide because the first slide typically is your title slide. And so they have it a big portion in the middle to have the title of your presentation. And then any subsequent slides after that are going to look a little bit different. So it's going to be geared more towards more content instead of your title. So very easy to add a title. This is learning about Google Apps. You are able to, this is within a text box that was already created for you, but you can also, I can hit that whole box and delete that really fast and oops, I want that back. So I can hit the undo and that's back. So you got your undo and redo here. You also have this, I want to kind of go from left to right. This plus sign right here will add a new slide as well as doing it from under the slide category. With this drop down, you can choose what kind of formatted slide you want with it. You could do a blank. Sometimes you don't want to have those things that are already provided for you. So this is title and body usually is the default, but you can just create a blank slide if you want to. And so that will be the next. And when you are in your, you see your slides over here on the left, you can kind of see all of them. You're able to drag and drop. You can move those slides around very easily just by dragging with your mouse or with your trackpad. Let's see. You've got your typical toolbar up here. You've got your sharing opportunity here as well as over here with the blue button when you're sharing with collaborators. You have your new and open. This is just from your Google Drive, so you're able to create any of the apps available. Make a copy if you want to duplicate a presentation or any kind of file that you have in Google Drive. You click on make a copy. It will pop up a chance for you to retitle it. Otherwise, it'll just say copy of whatever file name title that you're looking at. What I like about the download as, if I'm creating something in Google Slides, and it's very graphic, and I like what it looks like, I can make an infographic, and then I can download that infographic as a JPEG, which is the current slide, or a PNG, which usually is as a transparent, or I can do a scalable vector graphic. So if you're into more of the graphics. Now, also, if you like PowerPoint, you can download it as a PowerPoint file. But I have just been working in Google Slides, and I have not found anything that Google Slides can't do that PowerPoint could do. So I'm not lacking anything here in Google Slides. You have your version history too, and we talked about that with Google Docs, that up here, as you're working with most of your Google apps, it saves it in real time. And if you click on as it's saving, because if I'm typing something, this is my subtitle. If you look up at the top, it says saving, and then all changes save. So it saves so fast in real time, and then you can click on that to see your history. I'm going to click down, and it's just by the time, and I can click the history and choose, okay, this was before I put in that last subtitle. I can restore that version. So I'm able to look at my history, and I can go back to anything that I created before if I don't like something that I created. So you've got that up here. Let's see. And then one big thing that I want to point out here is your page setup. If you go to page setup, you have these options right here. These are your standard options, your 4:3, 16:9 ratio, and your 16:10. These are your widescreens. Here's your standard. I'll show you what that looks like. So it just kind of makes it more, if that's the way you like it to look. But I want to show you something that you may not know, is you can set it up as custom. And say you want to do a newsletter, and you want it 8.5 by 11. So you could change these to 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to click OK, and I'm in inches. And then this is going to create a normal paper-sized document. So your slide is that paper size. And I just like the ease of Google Slides. And so I'm going to make my newsletter or my flyer or my infographic here, and I'm going to make it in an 8.5 by 11. So you can customize the size of your slide in case you need it for any of those purposes. So please keep that in mind for future. Now for these purposes, I'm going to go back to, I'll just do widescreen 16:9, just because I like the look of it. All right, so that's under File. And then you have your typical Edit, View, Insert. Now, very much like Docs, you have the ability to insert images. And again, one thing that I really like is just being able to search Google right here, pops up on the right. I'm able to search for graphics over here. And it just makes it easy to insert into your presentation. You've got inserting video, and you can put in a YouTube, or you can go from your Google Drive or any kind of URL, which is just a website address, which is great. So easy to do. Insert your typical shapes. You've got charts that you can put in, word art, lines, animation. Now, if you want to put in an animation, this is normally like a transition, or you can animate a particular object or item in your. So I'm going to select that, and I'm going to say fade in. Let's just go ahead and on click, and I can also change the speed of that transition. So if I make it really slow, and then I'm going to play it just to see what it looks like, and it's going to give me an example, and it's going to on click, I clicked, and it comes up really slow. So just any item that you're choosing, and then over here on the right, it's going to allow you to do your animation. You are also able to change your animations to anything that you see right here. And you can say on click after previous. So sometimes if you don't want to wait for you to click, but you want to, one thing comes up and then you want it to come up and the next, then you can do it right there with the after previous or with the previous. So you can add animations. It'll have you choose something that you want to add an animation to. And if you have an animation on a slide, you're going to see a little animation icon on that particular slide. Now I like, I'm going to say fade for the slide itself. And I'm going to say medium. And then you can say right here, apply to all slides. So you have a nice transition between, I'm going to get rid of this one. And so I don't have that animation that I had put on this. So you'll be able to play and be able to see what it looks like. And then if I go to the next slide, I can push play. I can see that just how fast or slow I want that transition. All right, so that is in animations. And where was I? Okay, I want to go back here. I was in insert. You can insert a new slide here as well. So you can insert here, you can insert with a slide, and you can insert with the plus button over here. And you've got your typical formatting options. And then you have a slide. You have your chance to create a new slide. You can duplicate a slide. You can delete, skip, change the background of that particular slide. You can change colors if you want to do that, or you can choose from images. Now you can go to your Google Drive, or you can do a search for images, or you can upload from your computer right there. Ooh, ugly. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. Apply a layout. This goes back to the different elements that you have in your slide. You can choose a different layout. You can change your transition here. Edit your master. That means like your top slide, you can make changes to that and then apply that to the entire thing. And you can also change your theme. So remember at the very beginning, we looked at themes and we made, I think it was the tropic theme right here. So we can change it to another theme if we ever wanted to. Make it nice tiger blue. And it changes it a little bit, but you are able to change your themes and change all the elements at any time that you want to. And you can also do that up here in this toolbar. You can change the background of your slide. You can change the layout of your slide. You can change the theme and the transition all right here. Let's see. Arrange, this is your typical items on the page arranging. And then you have your typical tools like we talked about in Docs with that Explorer. That's great. Having that Google search engine right there within the application that you're working so you don't have to go to a different tab makes it great. You have your voice type speaker notes. So you can, if you haven't noticed already, we have some speaker notes down here at the bottom. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So you can type notes out here for you as the speaker that you're able to see when you are doing your presentation, or when the students are doing their presentation, they can type any notes here. Now, normally when I do presentations, I share it with the people that I am presenting to. And so I share this whole thing. So they're able to see those notes. So sometimes I'll put links and resources down there in the notes as well. So you have your ability to have your notes right there. So here was the tool was just voice typing your speaker notes. So I'm able to click on that and click on the microphone that I have built in. And it's able to just write down the notes that I have in my mind as I'm going through this presentation. Period. New line. And I start a new line. It's very easy to use, just like you would do text to speech on your phone. Or speech to text. All right, so I'm going to get rid of all of that. All right, and under tools, I think that's pretty much it. And again, add-ons, This is a different session. So you may want to go to get add-ons and just see what you have available for add-ons to your slides. All right, and we've talked about the changes here. We've talked about the themes, your typical toolbar up here that you have available to you. But what I really want to show you about Google Slides is something I think that's awesome for someone who is doing a presentation with Google Slides. It's great. You want interactivity. You want the students involved, and when the students are doing, you want that peer involvement and that peer feedback. So I'm going to go to the Google slide that I created for this session, because I have some content in here already, and say I'm presenting to a class or to a group of students, and I'm going to go to present. Now I could click on present, it would start the presentation, it fills up the whole screen, but what I want to show you is the arrow over here on the right, and this is where I really encourage you to go. So if you click on that and go to presenter view, then you're going to see that in the background, you're going to see that full screen that's going to be up on your projector, up on the board. And this is what they're seeing. And then this smaller box right here is what you see as the speaker. And so you have that ability to see the slide that you're on. You have the ability to see the next slide. So if I went to the next slide, it's going to go up there, and then I have the previous and the next. So I'm able to see that. I also have the tool of having my time down there. So if I have a specific time period that I need to give this presentation, then I have my clock there, and I can pause and reset as I need it. And I also have my speaker notes right here, which is nice. So I'm able to zoom on the notes or whatever, and as I'm going from slide to slide, I'm able to see my different notes. But here is the magic. Go to Audience Tools, and this is where Audience Q&A comes into play. Now I'm going to start new because I had another session. So I'm going to start a Q&A session. Now notice what happened when I clicked start and I have my Q&A on here, that my slide that is on the board pops this up at the top. So, and I say, okay, I'm opening it up for questions as I'm going through my presentation. So I'm on another computer, and I'm going to pretend I am one of the students in the classroom taking this, experiencing this lesson. And I see a screen that says Slides Q&A, and it's talking about the Google Apps PD. This is the thing. And then I'm going to bring this back up. So you're going to see what happens. So as I'm presenting and I'm asking for questions, if you have any questions, please let me know. And I have, I'm going through my presentation as I go. Now, I see this pop up. Well, I'm back at speaker notes, so every once in a while I need to go back to if I've opened it up for questions. And this is staying up on the screen. And of course, you have this. So say this is a legitimate question about your presentation, and somebody asks the question. And you say, oh, Tammy's got a question, I see, and it's a really good question. Hit the present button, and then notice that it goes up on the screen that's on the board. Not a great question, but pretend it is. So Tammy asked a great question. Can she go to the bathroom? That's a great question. So let's discuss that a little bit. So if you want to highlight somebody's question that comes up, then you are able to show that question up there and then have that discussion and have that interactivity. And it shows the person, that student who asked the question. And I just choose hide, and I'm back in my presentation. And so excuse me, maybe I get another question. Can I choose two options? I'm on another computer, so I'm just pretending, and I'm going to check a box that says ask anonymously and hit submit. Now I see this and I say, oh, somebody just asked, can they choose two options? So I present that and I show it up on the board. And then you say, yes, that's a great question. Yes, you may choose two options. And then let's move on. And then I can go to my next slide, and I'm on my speaker notes, and I just occasionally will go back to the Q&A and see if any questions are popping up. I can choose to close the questioning for the day. And once I do that, it comes off of my projected screen, and or I can turn it back on, and there's the session again. And again, I can always go back. Let's go back to that question that was so great. And then hide it. It makes it so easy. But my goodness, isn't this a game changer for someone presenting, and it looks so professional? I mean, you just flash that question up there and it shows their name at the bottom, and you can have that discussion. But I just think it adds a completely different dimension to your presentation or for the students. I love the fact that the students, we haven't even talked about, again, the main game changer for Google Apps, and that is collaboration. And the fact that I can be working in this Google slide presentation, and I can share it with my colleagues or with my peers or with my group members, and they can all be working on a different slide, or we can be collaborating together, whether we are apart or right across the table from each other. Collaboration is what it's about. Give the students opportunities to create and discuss and collaborate, because discussion does get those juices flowing, and it really engages them. Students like to talk. And if you can give them that information and give them that opportunity to be able to talk about this material, it's great. I've seen for teachers, a great tool is to create a Google slide presentation, and then assign a different slide to each student, share it with the students, um, share that slide presentation with the students, and they have their assigned slide. And so they're working on their slide, and they're working on their slide, and they're working on their slide all at the same time in the same slide presentation. And then you could have different materials that they're assigned to go research, and they're filling up their slide, and this could be a great project. You could have a group do a slide presentation, and each person in the group is responsible for their slides information. Or you can just have a group working on an entire presentation together. But how great that collaboration tool. But I also love that presentation. So remember, when you are going to present, click on the arrow that's on the right and do the presenter view that has that Q&A in the audience tools right there. You just start new. It's so easy to do. It puts that up there. The students can go on their phones or on their Chromebooks or whatever device they're using and go straight to that website that's given for that link. And then they just type in their question, and it just adds that great element of interactivity. So I hope that this helped you kind of understand a little bit more about, I'm going to click exit down here, and that goes back to, gets you out of presentation. Now I will add this one thing. So you're in presentation, you forgot to do Q&A. All you have to do is go down to the bottom, and this part will pop up, and just hit Q&A, and then you do have you have that tool available for you. I think it's just a great tool, and you actually have a whole bunch of different tools up here that you can use, and you can actually, there's some great tools as you're presenting as well. I kind of like that. I like this as well. I have that chance to do a selection, and they're able to see that. I'm going to choose that. Let's just show you this. I forgot to show you all that. So I'm actually going to choose select the speaker notes, and let's choose the, let me see what this, oh, this is a highlighter. That's pretty cool. So that highlights something or spotlights it, and then this will allow you to draw. Let's see. Let me go back to Q&A. Yeah, I did not put any speaker notes in this. You have your clock. Whew, I am way long. So I'm going to stop there and get out of this, and I'm going to exit out of that. And like I've mentioned with all these, if you ever have any questions as you're exploring this, feel free to ask. There's just so much to explore, but at the same time, very user friendly. I'm going to expand this a little bit more. You can change the window here to where your slide is bigger and your notes are on the bottom here. So lots of great tools, and I just showed the grid here. You see your slides on the left. You can also put them this way where you can see them in this kind of a grid view as opposed to, they call it film strip view. So very user friendly. Great tools here. Explore is here as well as up in the tools up here. You have that Google search built in to it. How rich. So you give a project to your students and they create a Google Slides, and I mean the options and your potential here is just limitless. So I hope you have fun coming up with ways to get the kids exploring and creating in Google Slides. And again, let me know if you have any questions.